Hey, welcome everybody to another episode of Necessity versus Commodity. I've got two absolutely amazing people with me today, Jeremy and Ilana Hamburgh. They have a company called My Best Social Life. They actually work with autistic and neurodivergent individuals. Their business has been in place almost a decade. Jeremy's been coaching people for decades, and their program helps autistic, neurodivergent people actually build their best social life, find communities, friends, build love. And they've have 270 people that they've helped through their program. And actually last night I joined their coaching call and I was completely blown away. Like I was hearing conversations of people that were getting their first full-time job. They were going to be moving to their first apartment. Someone celebrated talking about that they got engaged, and him and his fiance were talking about finances for the wedding. People having major breakthroughs, going on a second date for the first time in their life. Like there was so much amazing stuff there, guys, last night, and I can't thank you enough for allowing me to join. So welcome to the podcast, because I really want people to understand the amazing stuff that you're doing in the world and really what the family atmosphere that you guys provide. Because I thought was really cool. You guys are flying out next week to Pittsburgh,
Philly,
right? Philly. Yeah, Liberty Bell. And
Liberty
you
Bell.
do that. You guys travel around the country and do events so individuals and their families can come all hang out. You guys are throwing a huge pizza party with a bunch of people next week. I think that stuff is just so cool. And so, Jamie, let's start off. Like, I know that you kind of started this business. So when you started, why did you start it?
I actually had no concept of what autism and neurodiversity was when this all began. It wasn't really my goal. I started a young professionals organization in New York. I don't know, maybe back in '07, and we would get a couple hundred people to our events, and as much as I like to think that they were there for community, they were really there to meet each other and try to find dates out of it. And as I like to say, they really sucked at it. And so a couple of friends of mine, we were on the Staten Island ferry in New York. A couple of girls who were in the organization, friends with me, they said, you have to teach us how to do what you're doing. Like, you walk into a room by yourself and you walk out with a crew or a date, and like you're doing something that we're not doing. What is it? And I said, honestly, guys, I have no idea. And they're like, well, you're gonna have to figure it out. So I spent 3 years reading a lot of the books that are kind of behind me, trying to figure out what makes people click. And I actually realized along the way that the reason why people click has a lot to do with what I was learning as a very young prosecutor. I was an assistant district attorney in New York, and I was learning, how to tell a good story, how to
Yeah.
give good body language, how to ask good questions, and listen to the witness. And you know what? That's kind of what making friends and dating is about.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, one of my early mantras was kind of winning over a jury of 12 is not very much different than winning over one person.
That's a very unique perspective.
Yeah, it is. It's the same
Yeah,
skills. You're talking to 12
it is.
people, but not one. And so I made this workshop that I brought to the Jewish Community Center in Manhattan. And I said, hey guys, I want to help awkward people uh, click better by teaching them the science of what makes them click. And they're like, cool, do we have to pay you for this workshop? And I was like, not the first time, I guess. So they're like, fine, we'll do it. And it was so popular, I got invited back like 5, 6 times. And what I didn't realize was that a lot of the people who were coming to my workshops were neurodivergent because the JCC had 3 special needs organizations under its roof.
Wow.
And so pretty soon, like, they just started cutting out the middleman, and these special needs organizations started hiring me to come in and do workshops for them. And one of those organizations was actually on the community call that you were there with last night, right?
Yep.
You met Michelle Wexler from the adaptations program. I spent 3 years starting in 2010, maybe even more than 3 years, as the in-house dating coach for the adaptations program at the Silver Center for Special Needs. And so that's really when I got my started in the autism world, 2010, when I saw that there were like this massive population of people who wanted connection, wanted friendship, wanted love. And no one really knew how to make that work on any sort of scale. So I figured it's going to take someone pretty darn tenacious to figure out the formula, and I've been working on it now since 2010. It's been 14 years.
One working with you guys, recently too. I know that the next year, coming 2024, you're even expanding the program up. So you're constantly innovating, adding new things, and growing out how you're helping people. I'm sure a lot of people, when they heard that you were a lawyer, they probably like kind of threw them for a loop. And so being a lawyer, this obviously wasn't something that was on your radar growing up, right? It wasn't something going through your career. So when did you realize going, oh my gosh, I actually want to, this is a passion. I want to make this my life's legacy, so to speak.
I, there are two moments that really stick out. The first moment was after the first time I did a workshop for the adaptations program at the Silver Center for Special Needs. I remember going up to the executive director's office. Her name's Allison Kleiman. And I remember telling Allison, oh my God, this was a failure of epic proportions. And I used some other colorful language. And she's like, why? I was like, well, there was a couple of people on their phone, a couple of people staring into space, one person like just facing away from me. I was like, they hated me. And Allison was like, no, like neurodivergent people, autistic people, a lot of them pay attention differently. They loved you. You're coming back. And I was like, what? My head like popped off my shoulders. They liked me. They were on their phone. They were staring into space. And I realized, oh my goodness, there's this group of people who they were there because they want that connection. But the way that their brain is wired makes it really hard. And there are lots of therapists and other interventions that people use, to improve their social skills and their social outcomes. But here are these adults who are still really struggling. And I thought to myself, my goodness, this is like a really amazing opportunity. And then, I don't know, maybe sometime around 2016, I'm not entirely sure of the year, one of my clients got married. And not only did he get married, but he invited me to give a blessing to him and his bride under the marital canopy, the chuppah. And I looked out at this like very sizable group of people who were here for this wedding. And I said to myself, my goodness, like they're here because of me. They're here because of the work that I did with this young man. And I said to, I then and there that day, I said, I'm not going to look back on my life and think about how many trials I've won or how many motions I've won. I'm going to look back on my life and think about how many relationships I've helped start, how many marriages I've been a part of. And that started this path to exiting the law and being a full-time coach and in Social Life 360, which is the name of our program.
Last night being on the call, there were, I think, 3 new people on that call. And it was really interesting watching the dynamic of the whole group. I think there were about 40 people on the call last night. And you had, yeah, right around that number. And the 3 new individuals, the one gentleman jumped in and shared immediately, even though he was so uncomfortable, and you could tell. And you even let him know, like you so gave him so much power and such a safe space to, hey, yes, welcome and talk. And then you saw everybody else champion and clap for him, celebrate, like, so glad you're here. Best Social Life 360 is the best. You're going to love it. I'm so welcome to the family. Even people like connecting, hey, let's get together, over the weekend. And it was so cool to see like some new people come in and have, I guess, the confidence, strength, and overcome the fear to actually speak. Right? Like we've all been in that first day of school or joined some sort of mastermind or a program, and it's the first day and we just hide in the back. To see somebody actually step forward on the very first day because of how welcome they want, I thought was really cool. And then just to see everybody else, right? And you could tell other people, one talked about being an accelerator program, and he's already having massive, fun with that and results. The reason why I kind of brought that up, it must be an amazing journey watching people come in the first day and like each week and each month, like how they're progressing. So from you guys' point of view, when you're watching that, like what are some of the things that you truly see when people start opening up? Because we're all scared the first day.
As you're talking about that, it brings me to people always ask, do you have cohorts? Do your groups start as a cohort, and one group starts together, they finish together, and it kind of organically happened that we have this rolling admission. So people start on the day that they have a strategy session with our amazing coach Cecile, and they come in, and the beauty of the program is really that they have that support of the people who the more veteran members of our community, and they're able to be celebrated and be embraced from the second that they join the community. And it really allows them to open up and be vulnerable and to share in a way that they've never done before. And to watch that progression is just so powerful and so beautiful, quite honestly.
Yeah, and I'm glad. I think it's awesome that you guys actually don't do like a cohort. Like, hey, everyone comes in, we start March 1st or whatever. I think that type of aspect where how you guys kind of organically, because someone coming in, if you have 5 new people all start and they're all really timid, like you can waste weeks on end sometimes before people start coming out of their shell. And so I thought it was again just so amazing and powerful to watch those 3 brand new people come in, and you bring up Cecile as well. You know, I'm getting to know Cecile and working with her. She is such an amazing person for you guys and on your team, and every individual that works with you as well. So if you're watching this, you end up talking with Cecile and helping out and working with Jeremy and Ilana, you're going to love her. She's absolutely brilliant. Ilana, I want to ask you a question because one of the guys, and we won't use his name, we'll just call him Jay. There was something that was brought up last night. I didn't know that you guys did. And I thought it was so cool, but talked about you guys, you had a mock date with him. And I want to ask you what those mock dates are about, number one, because I think that is super cool and unique. And you're not going to find that anywhere. But the thing that impacted me the most was watching his reaction, talking about it, but more importantly, the smile that you got on your face was just like that right there. Like you were like, I was like, Jeremy, you better watch out, man. You might have some competition here.
It was
like,
a good date.
It was, and you said that, right? And like the joy that came out of both of you guys like was a shining light off the screen. And so talk about that mock date, because I think that, wow, what an impactful thing for somebody in your program that is able to do that. So tell me about that so I get a better actual idea of what the date was like.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. Some of our clients are in the dating process. That's a lot of our clients start with friendship and then they move on to the dating aspects of their social life. And it's really hard to be so self-reflective when you're on a date. You go on a date and you could think it went well, but you don't have an outsider's perspective of what actually is happening. And to be that introspective and to be able to then tell it back to us so that we can give feedback is really hard. So we started doing mock dates. So I'll play the part of the date and I'll go on a date with one of our clients, and I play 3 different roles. So I'll play the role of somebody who just talks and talks and talks and barely lets my date have a word. I'll play the part of, which this happens very frequently to our clients, that they go on a date and they get 1-word responses. Like, how was your day? Good. What do you do? I'm a lawyer. And it's very hard to deepen that connection because you're just not getting any real response out of them. And then I'll play the part of somebody who shares the conversation more equally. So we can see how they really respond on a date, what their body language looks like, what their conversational skills are actually like, and then we'll give them feedback after each mini date. So they really get an outsider's perspective of how they are as a dater.
Yeah, it's so cool. And dating is one of the scariest things for just everybody, right?
Absolutely.
And like a first date, and to be able to be such a safe spot with you. And I know, Jeremy, you said that you would too, that the females, you work with them, and Ilana, you work with the boys, and to be able to work on that skill and feel comfortable and safe and practice it. So that's so stinking amazing. And when you know, when you guys were talking about it yesterday, like watching the chat and like everybody giving each other tips and cheering each other on, like it was fun to read all of that. And it was one of the reasons why I kind of like raised my hand. Hey, I want to, you know, I want to
Jump in
share
there.
too. I wanted to share it. I'm like, do I or not? I'm like, I about 10 seconds. I'm like, just raise your hand and share. It just shows that like I was nervous. You know, it was my first day. But I kind of, you know, told everybody, hey, I'm 47. You know, I've been on a lot of really bad first dates, a lot of really bad second dates. Like it's a normal human thing. And when you guys were talking, you know, you guys were actually talking about dating last night on your call and relationships and like, and we'll talk about that some in a second here. But to go, hey, it's such a human thing, and to let them know that like we all go through this, right? And to see them all support each other, it was so again so fun to watch. You know, I know you're revamping a lot of your modules. You're making your program more robust. Last night you were going through some modules with people, so they kind of knew some changes of what was coming up. And I thought it was really unique when you were talking about like just friendship relationships, what they are, you know, the different styles. And Jamie, I thought it was really cool how you brought up of like life cycles of friends and what that's like. Sometimes you have a best friend 6 months later, like you're kind of an acquaintance for a little bit, but you've had people come back in your life and you're like best friends again, right? Like to really truly understand that. So like going through some of the nuts and bolts of your program. I mean, you teach a lot of different skills for individuals. What are some of those skills? Like if we kind of just talk about relationships, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about something different. What's another like real skill set or something you're really teaching people through that's a game changer for them as well?
Yeah, just a little bit of kind of historical background, I think will make some sense here. So I started as an autism dating coach because that seemed like what people were wanting. And then I realized very quickly that friendship and dating exists on its own spectrum, particularly for people who are autistic. So I went from an autism dating coach to an autism friendship and dating coach. But then I also realized that a lot of people who are coming to us don't have a diagnosis of autism or Asperger's, right? Their brain is just wired differently. So, you know, I expanded to autism and neurodivergence more generally, and friendship and dating. And one of the big reasons why we actually revamped the entire curriculum of the program is because I moved 3,000 miles from home in the middle of the pandemic. When I met Ilana before we got married, she moved 3,000 miles from home in the middle, you know, I guess at the end of the pandemic. And what we realized was friendship is important, relationships are important, but a lot of it starts with community, with having your tribe.
Yeah.
And so the existing Social Life 360 program has gone from very focused on friendship and dating to very focused on finding your community, finding your tribe, making friends in your tribe, and also dating. And so what we do is we sort of lead our clients through the A to Z of how to do all those things. But it actually starts with confidence. One of the things that our clients struggle with, I think more than maybe any people on the planet, is confidence, because when your brain is wired differently, you have probably experienced a whole lifetime of social rejection.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't believe that you can go out into the world and meet new people successfully, you're not going to do it. So one of the favorite things that our clients do in Social Life 360 in the program is what we call recognizing, reversing, and resetting your inner critic. Understanding what those voices are in your head that are telling you you can't do it, short-circuiting them and building stronger beliefs so that as you learn the strategies and the skills that we're teaching you, you are also building the confidence to go out into the world and actually use them. I like to say we don't want our clients to get a PhD in social skills. We want our clients to learn social skills and have the confidence to go out into the world and either win or learn.
Yeah.
So yeah, inner critic is a big one. And then we help them with compatibility. We talk about what makes a friend, what makes a romantic partner. You saw some of the graphics that we used for that yesterday. We talk a lot about safety because Ilana, spent 16 years as a teacher, and I spent 14 years as a lawyer, primarily working in fraud and things like that. So we're always trying to keep our clients safe. And then we go into the nitty gritty of how to find a tribe, how to become part of a tribe, how to make friends, how to talk to people with more confidence, how to be more interesting, how to make plans with people, how to follow through with them. We do all of those things over the course of the program. But what you actually got to see last night, which is really cool, is we teach skills differently. We don't tell people, oh, this is what you should be doing. What we do is we decode the social world. We decode the formulas that underpin social interaction, so that our clients can like download those, those formulas and diagrams and processes to their brain. They can go out into the world, they can see how these things really work, and then they can be a better participant in the world because they understand it. It's very, very different from telling someone you should do this. It's helping someone understand how the world is working.
Yeah, and when you were going through that, and I thought it was very unique watching, and again watching the crowd and their reactions, and then reading like the chat and people picking it up, and one of the guys, very vocal, obviously been a program, and was talking it was so cool where he was talking about, hey, if I'm out at the bar with my friends, they're all loud, so I'm really loud. Hey, one of the guys I met through Best Social Life, he always has headphones and he's quiet. I tone myself down, right? He doesn't talk as much. I talk all the time. And the self-awareness he obviously had learned, and him to be able to, hey, I'm in this environment, and some of the stuff, like, we all know this, but even I don't do some of this stuff. So I was learning things last night as well, which was really fun. But I think it was really cool also to watch, the different people, how they all had their different perspective and understanding, which shows how customized it is for each individual. Like you said, hey, we're not giving you say this and then you respond with this. It really is causing the person to have a personal change and understanding of how amazing they are and the superhero they are, how to present that in whatever environment they are. And I'm glad you add the community and tribe part of your program, because I think it's a huge game changer. And you saw how everybody was talking about getting together, the groups over here, or getting groups, or them all getting together. That's really where people thrive, right? And lots of times that is where you meet your best friends, and lots of times that is where you meet your significant other. So without that piece, you're kind of stuck. And I see why you guys call it the best social life, right? Like you are building a community, you're building really tight friendships, and on your path to find love, if that's what you're looking for as well. So Ilana, we didn't go into your backstory really.
Yeah.
Like, how did you end up here with Jeremy and doing this?
Great question. I was a classroom teacher. I was a special ed teacher in New York City for 16 years. I met Jeremy and had no intention of really leaving the classroom or school setting. I was actually doing my school administration certification. So I was considering coaching or administration in my near future, but I actually worked with little ones. So Jeremy invited me to one of the weekly community calls that you got to experience last night. And I didn't quite understand what he did. And I think it's very hard to understand when you hear, oh, I'm an autism and neurodiverse friendship and dating coach. What does that actually mean? So I got to experience the weekly community call, and I got to meet his clients, and I just fell in love. And then he couldn't get rid of me. So I was teaching full-time in New York on the East Coast. Then I would come home from work and I would join coaching calls and the weekly community call. And I would be up till all hours of the night because
I'm on the West Coast.
Jeremy was on the West Coast. We were long distance.
Yeah.
And when I decided to move to California, Jeremy was like, do this with me. And it was a no-brainer. It was absolutely like, this is where my heart is. And I couldn't imagine doing anything else.
I told Ilana, spend a year as our director of education. You have all this education background. Spend a year as our director of education. At the end of the year, if you don't want to do it anymore, I will support you going back to the classroom. And needless to say, it's been more than a year.
And I think you asked me after a month, so are you going back to the classroom? I'm like, no, I don't think so.
Well, and hey, once I experienced it once, you're never getting rid of me, I think was a key moment there too.
Yeah.
But and watching you guys work together is a beautiful thing. You guys both have certain skill sets. You complement each other just amazingly. So how does that relationship and you guys' strengths when you're working with a client really benefit a client? Because having a male perspective is one thing, a female is one, but different skill sets. So how do you guys really see that magnifying your clients' results, the whole aspect of being in a program that they achieve with you guys?
Yeah, people actually, when they'll ask us like, oh, so who's my coach going to be? Is it going to be you? Is it going to be Ilana? And I'm like, no, it's
You
both
get
of
both
us.
of us.
And they're like, at the same time? And I'm like, yeah, we sit next to each other when we coach you. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, you get like a
It's a two
male
for one special.
perspective and a female perspective, and two heads are better than one. We have different we have different perspectives, we have different ways of explaining things, we have different energies. And so between my kind of more process oriented brain and her, the way that she teaches, we get to a place where our clients really deeply understand what they need to be doing, and they make a lot of progress. But they're really getting two coaches, not just one.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's amazing, and working with you guys for the past month is watching you guys together, of how you feed off each other, you support each other 100%. You guys both know each other's strengths and hey, you do this because, so it's a beautiful thing to watch. So I can't even fathom like how powerful that is. Like if I was in your program and you guys were coaching me like this one-on-one. Now everything you guys do, you do some coaching one-on-one, you do the mock dates, you do group sessions, obviously you travel around, you do events. The nitty-gritty, the day-to-day stuff for somebody, if they're in your program, so they have an idea that, hey, don't be overwhelmed. This isn't a lot. Like it's not, actually the one guy last night kind of, it was his first night, and the guy that kind of came forward, he's like, I kind of feel like I'm in college again. And you're like, a good way or a bad way?
Yeah, he's like, I'm taking notes.
Type of deal.
Luckily, he said good way.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, yes. And so, if somebody, just to give somebody a little peek, like the day-to-day stuff, like, is there a lot of work? Like, are you spending 2 hours a day, like doing stuff or yeah. So what's it kind of look like? So someone can actually get a view, almost like, hey, their first weekend, what's it look like working with you guys?
Yeah, look, I think it pays to remember that like I used to coach the old way, right? I would get together with a young adult for an hour and a half once a week, and we would like talk about all kinds of different things, and then the next week he would forget all of it and we'd have to do it all again and maybe add a little bit more, and then a week later we would do it all again, right? When you give any human being, not just a neurodivergent human being, when you give any human being an hour or 90 minutes of information into their head at one time, like some huge percentage of that information is just gone. You just can't absorb that much. Right. So I thought like I wanted to find a better way. And I realized, a lot of our clients, they love YouTube, they love TikTok, they love being on their phone, right? They love being able to watch videos when they want, where they want. And I also realized that like a lot of the skills that I teach people are the same for everybody because they're human skills, right? How to understand your inner critic is a human skill. How to understand who you're compatible with is a human skill. How to do searches for what tribes and communities may be in your area. These are all the same for everyone. So you know what? I said, I'm going to record them, and I'm going to make formulas and diagrams and checklists. But ultimately, it's going to be, it's going to be recorded, and our clients can watch these recordings wherever they want, whenever they want. Some of them watch it while they're walking their dog, and some of them, watch it in bed. But the magic of the program is that we break down the A to Z of building a social life into very manageable online training modules that you can watch wherever and wherever you want. And so you watch basically one a day over the course of the program, and you're laying a foundation. Every day you're learning something new, but just a little bit at a time, and you can watch it as many times as you want until it sinks in. So that's how we teach a lot of the basic skills, and then our client and strategies. And then our clients, they'll shoot us an email. Hey, I was just watching the module on, how to find your tribe using online searches. I have a question about something. And they'll email us, and within like, hour, 2 hours, whatever, we'll get back to them with an answer.
Usually less.
Sometimes less. And so our clients know that we're not going to go to bed without acknowledging the question that they have.
Yeah.
And then we have private coaching with our clients. Sometimes their families join too. Some of them do it as a family, which is pretty cool. But we have some private time with our clients over the course of the program. We do the weekly community call that you were at yesterday, where our clients share their celebrations and ask some of the questions that are more applicable to the community as a whole. They'll be part of the worldwide chat group, because we have clients all across the United States and in different parts of the world right now, and they keep each other company. Right now, they're taking polls about what kinds of music they like. So that's what's happening right this moment. We also have some regional subgroups, because we have pockets of clients that are situated in different areas. So we have a Bay Area group and a SoCal group and a New York group and a Philly and a DC and there's a Virginia one, and now there's a Dallas area one, and we have like, I don't know, 9 or 10 like regions. And as you said, like Ilana and I we travel around the country and we travel around the world doing workshops for different organizations. We're going to Philadelphia to speak at a conference of matchmakers on Thursday. And since we're going to be in Philadelphia, we're throwing a pizza party for the Social Life 360 family. And we do that from time to time. We've had barbecues in Irvine, California. We have a bakery where we've run 2 events in New York City for our clients. We're going to be doing Washington, D.C. later this year, San Francisco later this year. So we get to go around the country when we have conferences to do. And it's not just that we get to meet our clients, we get to hug our clients, we get to hug their parents, because as much as like we're all on a community call on Zoom, a lot of us are like family to each other.
On this life-changing journey with them, and it really just builds this relationship that is family. It's their extended family to us.
And I could feel that last night in the call immediately. Like it wasn't even a 2 minutes in, and just watching everybody come together, all start showing up. And then all of a sudden, the first couple minutes of the call, like everyone's like, okay, we're waiting. Jeremy's like, a few more people are coming, a few more people. And then all of a sudden, once everybody knew they were all there, like it was like just everyone just came together, started chatting, talking. And I think it's amazing talking about, the community you're bringing together. Like all of these people are in chats, they're talking with each other. That in itself is priceless.
Yeah.
Right. Like you're bringing them into an actual tribe, and you guys are setting up franchises, so to speak, all over the place. Like that is just so cool. To have people, I think that's sometimes the biggest component. You talk about human skills. So I think one of the biggest human needs is having that group of people that at any time you can send a message to, and you're going to have a bunch of people support you. And to know that every one of your clients have 200 plus people that you post one little thing, that you're going to have people be jumping with you and celebrating with you or supporting you, send you a virtual hug, whatever it may be. I mean, that's life-changing just in itself. And the confidence that's going to build to transfer into everything else, it is so cool to watch. You brought something up about like I want to go back to it, talking about like the day-to-day. Hey, I'm teaching skills. So we got day-to-day stuff, right? Kind of like my fiance, her oldest daughter, we got her a guitar for Christmas. Playing guitar is a skill, right?
Yeah.
She didn't touch the thing for like 3 weeks. I had the conversation with her, like, is it because you're too scared to touch the guitar? Right. And I think lots of times when people don't have confidence in themselves, confidence in a skill set, you don't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you seclude yourself. And seeing her with that guitar, even though it was something she wanted more than anything, like once she got it, now it's too scary. And you guys are actually allowing your individuals to build the skill. So like every single day, that was one thing. Once we got her a teacher to learn how to play guitar, you go in, you learn one chord, you strum it for 15 minutes, you learn that one chord, you go back the next week, you're working on a different chord, right? That's how you do it. And I think it's really cool that you have your program set up that easy. It's going to be that simple for somebody to move from day to day and improving their skills all the way through, and having a supportive community on top of it is I'm really flabbergasted, guys. Like, I'm not very often lost for words, and I was again, I'm so glad I joined last night. The community aspect, how important do you see that being with your clients?
The funny thing is, the community aspect was ancillary at one point. I just kind of threw together the community one day on a whim. This was a coaching program. But what it's evolved to has been absolutely incredible. And, one thing that in hindsight, like now makes so much sense to me is a lot of times when people come into a coaching program of any kind, not just autism, social skill, whatever coaching you're going into, a lot of people come into it from a place of emotional constriction, from a place of emotional poverty, right? I need a coaching program because something is going wrong in my life. Yeah. And so then you start learning skills, strategies in your coaching program, but you're doing it from a place of emotional constriction. Like, oh my God, if I don't get this right, like my life is going to suck. And so what's so cool, and Ilana alluded to this before, is, at the end of the strategy session, if we're the right fit for you and you're the right fit for us and you join Social Life 360, the very first thing we do is we introduce you to the online community. And what's so crazy is that within seconds, and I'm not being hyperbolic, within seconds, you're starting to get pings from different parts of the country and different parts of the world even saying, oh my God, you're going to love it here. You belong here.
This is life-changing.
This is life-changing. You talked about this young man who has very, very high energy, who shared in the community call. He's going to write to every single person who joins.
He wrote it in the chat last night.
What did he write?
He wrote, Social Life 360 is magic.
Yep.
He wrote it at some point in there, but that's his, it was life-changing for him. His life completely transformed, and he's amazing.
And so what's so cool is that, like, for a lot of our young adults and adults who come into this program, when they're starting to get these pings from our clients and our graduates, like, you're going to love it here, you're in the right place. For some of them, it's the first time in their life where they've been like embraced and welcomed into a community. People wanted them there. They're not interlopers, outsiders looking in. And the reason why we do that first is we want them to have that feeling of embrace from our community, that they have other people on a journey with them before tomorrow comes and we start teaching you stuff.
Yep.
And look, I had no idea that our clients were going to organically. Yesterday, you heard our clients in Dallas went for Chinese dumplings together.
Yeah.
Right. Like, our client in Philly and our client in DC went to a singles event together. Our clients in New York organically had like an entire lunch for like 10 of them in Times Square. We had no idea that our clients were going to organically start getting together with each other. But you know what? It makes sense.
Yeah.
They live in a similar area. They're on a similar journey. They're looking for similar things. And for some of our clients, they reach out to each other and they make it happen. And you heard that one young man whose best friend he met in Social Life 360, and they couldn't be more different as human beings. They couldn't be more different.
And that's a true testament to what you guys are teaching these individuals too, that not only are you providing the education, but they're actually out there doing it. Because even if they would have met those individuals, if we take the New York ones, for example, if they would all met on some other dating site, or none of that would have happened. They all were comfortable enough, like, let's go out and do this and make it happen. I think that really truly shows like how powerful like the program is in itself. And all of them feel comfortable and want to do that is so profound. Talking about families, you said some families join as well. And I think it's awesome that if someone's interested in you guys' program, that you try to have the whole family, the parents there or other, people that are important in their life, all having this discussion, because joining your program is a big step. And so having people, the family members involved in not only the decision making of it and understanding truly what you guys are doing to help support them there, but also to be able to be part of the program and stuff like that too. Why do you guys do it that way? Because that's very unconventional.
It is. I started that, oh, I'd say about 2 years ago, because there was a very interesting thing that happened. I was working with a young man in the program, and he was making really good progress, and he was going to an event, and I was coaching him alone, and I gave him, some like a strategy for what I wanted him to do. And because his mom didn't really know what we were talking about, in a very well-meaning manner, she told him to do exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
And so I realized a couple things. One, I realized parents have so much agita about the fact that they want their adult children to live a good life, but they don't know how to do it. It'll reduce the parents' agita to have access to the trainings as well, so they know what the strategy is. I'm a parent. I love knowing what the answer is for my kid, right? And so I started by allowing parents to have the same trainings that I gave to their young adult. They weren't in the program, but they got access to the trainings. Then a couple of the parents came to me and they're like, well, it'd be nice to be able to talk with other parents who understand the journey that I'm on, because most of the people I know don't understand what I go through. So I gave the parents their own chat community. So now we have the chat community for our clients, the chat community for the parents, and the regional chats. And I'll be honest, it's not nearly as vibrant as the young adult chat is, but like it's still pretty cool that parents can connect with each other if they want. And then I realized, you know what? As a parent, especially when your young adult has struggled for so much of their life, you probably only get to hear the bad parts of the day, not the good stuff. But one of the central features of the weekly community call is that our clients celebrate. So I thought, you know what? Let's have the parents come on. I think, and Ilana really pushed me on this. Let's have the parents who want to be a part of it, and their son or daughter, is okay with that. Let them come to the community call. Let them see their son or daughter smiling and celebrating and having peers who are having successes. And you know what? Not every parent comes. A lot of our young adults come alone. They want to do this independently. I get that. We're fine with it. But some families, like, they're very tight knit. They do this stuff together, and the parents come to the weekly community call and they love it. They highlight it. We even have one parent where the son graduated from Social Life 360, and the mom pays to stay in the community call without him.
That's awesome. And I see why after being there. And I think that's so cool because as a parent, you can be extremely protective of your child and you want the best for them. And it can be really tough when you don't know how to help them in certain scenarios. And so them to be included in it, logically that makes sense. Like if you're telling somebody one thing and then somebody else is telling them, like, now they're torn between whatever, you get everybody on the same page and how successful that can be. But the highlight of that being a parent thing, I totally get it too, because you probably don't see that much joy from your kids sometimes.
Right.
Absolutely.
And to see that aspect, I think is so cool. I know that all of us kind of are on a time crunch today. If you want to leave the viewers with something, what would that be? And I want to give both of you guys a little bit of time to answer something unique, something special that gives them maybe an insight of what the program's like, the results you give, who you are, whatever it may be, something.
Want to go first? Ladies first?
Sure. I would just say, like, one of the mottos of our program is sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. And that's really something that we instill in our clients. And it's so important to everyone that life is about learning experiences and opportunities. And it's the perspective that you take. So if you experience something, it doesn't go the way you wanted it to go, that's an opportunity to learn for the next time. So there are no losses in life. It's just learning opportunities.
Yeah, that's a really, really good one. And I would say that we have a lot of young adults and a lot of parents who come to us and they say, like, I'm just not motivated anymore. And I say, I understand, right? Humans don't like to try and fail. We don't like trial and error, right? We want to win. We all want to just win. And when you don't see a clear path from where you are right now in your life to where you want to be, no one's going to be motivated. I don't care if you're autistic, have other sort of neurodivergent. It's a human thing, right? We don't like to do things when we don't see a clear path to success. And so one of the things that's so amazing about the strategy sessions that our team does is we will sit down with you for 90 minutes. We'll sit down with both parents and the neurodivergent adult, and we're going to get to know you at a very deep level. And our team is going to ask like really insightful, kind, caring questions to really get to know what are your goals, what are your community goals, what are your friendship goals, what are your dating and relationship goals. And we'll really get down to understand what is keeping you stuck, right? It's not that your brain is wired differently. It may be that you don't know where to find people, you don't know where to find your tribe, you don't know how to walk up to someone, you don't know how to start a conversation, you don't know how to drive a conversation without so many awkward pauses. Whatever the case may be, like we'll get down to the nitty gritty of what is keeping you stuck. And if we feel like we're a good fit to work with you, we'll offer to bring you into Social Life 360. And if we don't think we're the right fit for you, we'll try to help you find something better. But, either way, our team loves getting on the phone with families because we learn so much and we get so much clarity. And we've even had some families who didn't end up becoming part of Social Life 360, and they'll send us an email being like, oh my God, we did a strategy session with you, and the clarity itself was just so helpful.
Anybody that works with you guys, it's going to be probably that thing they'll look at their whole life. Like that was a moment that we made a decision that impacted my life the most, and there aren't many decisions like that we can look back on. And I truly believe that with what you guys are doing, and even more so after seeing everything last night. And so hats off and applause to what you guys have built and what you guys are going to continue building and how many lives are going to change. So you guys, welcome. Thank you so much for coming on, and really enjoy it. And we will talk to you soon. How would people reach out to you? I will have a link so people can find you, but just so that they know, like, how would they connect with you? What's the website or Facebook or whatever it may be?
Yeah, so we offer free training that we really love families to watch. We have a free training for the parents to watch, a free training for autistic and neurodivergent adults to watch, so they know what the path looks like and who we are. That is at mybestsociallife.com. And then at the end of the training, there's a link to book a strategy session with our team. And you can always reach out to Ilana and me. Ilana checks my email. It's Jeremy, Jeremy, at mybestsociallife.com.
Awesome. If anybody out there if you're autistic or neurodivergent, or you have a family member, someone that is, I would highly suggest you go reach out to Jeremy and Ilana and just open up a conversation and see if it's right for you. I know that 99% of you, it is going to be right. And again, it'll be a life-changing thing. So again, guys, thanks for being on, and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.